want to know how to live frugally no matter what your income is, whether it be high, in the middle or low, make sure to watch today's video all the way until the end so you understand every step and what you should personally do. Now, just a legal disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, of course, so don't take this as financial advice. I have to say this for legal reasons. I don't want to get sued or anything like that, but let's get into the video. And if you really enjoyed today's video, make sure to like the video as it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and if you want to be a part of this journey, then definitely subscribe to the channel. This is in no particular order, but number one I'm going to be putting up as avoid credit cards and personal loans. But of course you have to take on board, when you take a credit card from a bank, you have to keep in factor these two things. One would be that you might be paying interest depending if you're reckless with the card or not, unless you pay it off each and every single month 100%. Now, I don't recommend getting multiple credit cards because it can definitely take a mental toll on you, because you have all these expenses, you've got all these monthlies, you might have a whole bunch of interest coming out, which you could be saving if you just avoided getting credit cards in the first place. Now, I just want to make it very clear, I don't hate credit cards personally. I am just worried that you should be careful with them if you use them. However, if you're not that good with money, I definitely don't recommend credit cards. This is how people fall into the trap of living paycheck to paycheck, because people have too many loans, they have too many things to pay off people, car loans, etc., and things of such nature. And of course, if you don't have any credit cards or personal loans or anything like that, then not owing people, such as a dealership for a car, for example, or a bank, it's actually a pretty good feeling knowing that you owe nothing to nobody and all your money is your money. And number two will be paying off debt if you have debt. If you don't have debt, then I encourage you just to skip this chapter, move on to the next chapter, which will be part 3. But if you have debt, then I definitely recommend you prioritizing that and paying that off. Having debt could be anything from credit cards, personal loans. Literally owing people money is a form of debt. It's just not on paper. And the benefits of getting out of debt is you're not going to owe anybody anything. You're not going to be having to do minimum monthly payments or any payments for that matter. And thirdly, you can avoid interest, because sometimes I've had interest of $100+ and it's not a fun feeling. So to avoid that, of course, just pay off a credit card, or even cut it up if you can't really use them. If you're not responsible, just don't get a credit card in the first place. And of course, at the end of the day, when you don't have credit cards or owe anybody anything, your money is your money, which is the best feeling, because like everybody else, we all work hard for our money in some form. Number 3 would be avoid lifestyle inflation. Now, if you don't know what lifestyle inflation is, it's pretty much like this. Let's say, for example, you're living with your parents, when you get a job, then let's say you move out to the city because you're earning your own income and you want to be more independent. Let's say that you move into the city, you get a 1-bedroom apartment, let's say it's $100 a week, and you live there, and eventually over time in your business or even your career, your income increases, or let's say from $50,000 to $100,000. Now, because you're earning more money, what people tend to do, and this is a mental thing that people aren't aware of but mainly happens because you have a inflation of money, is that since you have more money, you're going to spend more money. So that means you go from the 1-bedroom apartment in the city all the way up until a 3-bedroom apartment in the city, and your rent's gone from $100 a week to $500 a week. And therefore, since your income has increased, your expenses have increased. And this can be things such as getting multiple credit cards, you can get multiple cars, you can get a bigger house that you don't really need, but people intend to do it. This is where people start living paycheck to paycheck instead of saving the difference of going from $50,000 a year to $100,000 a year. Their expenses go from $50,000 a year all the way up to what they're earning, which is $100,000 a year, instead of saving that difference. And you could be doing better things with it, such as investing it, saving it, putting it into your retirement, doing something as simple as putting it in a high interest savings account, or even just building an emergency fund in a normal everyday savings account. Now, when your income increases, let your expenses stay the same instead of going up, and save this difference between 50,000 to 100,000. So try and save or even invest that $50,000 until you're maybe in your 30s or your late 30s. And now if you do that, you're going to be a million miles ahead in front of a person that was 20 years old and all their expenses increased, and by the time they're 30, 40, 50, then they don't have any money in their retirement savings, don't have an emergency fund or investment. Now the good thing about your income increasing, even without it increasing, you can still do this, but definitely save an emergency fund. For simple maths, let's say you spend $1,000 every month. For you to save 3 months of expenses, you simply have to save $3,000. And the same concept applies for 6 months. Get that done because you don't know when life is gonna do something bad to you, or you just get the short end of the stick. Whether you lose your job, you have to move somewhere, you lose your house or anything. You need to save 3 to 6 months of expenses, because one day something bad will happen to you and you'll be like, oh, I wish I had 3 to 6 months of expenses. So prepare now to prepare for the future. Number 5 would be invest your money into your retirement, ETFs, stocks, and even yourself to increase your income, whether this be through some sort of skill, whether it be video editing like I'm doing here, or I'm recording content, which is habit stacking, which is I learned how to video edit, I learned how to make and shoot content because that's a skill. You have to learn how to speak to a camera because it's not the most easiest thing in the world. And then you got other things such as doing SEO for YouTube and everything like that, but that's irrelevant to this. Now of course, depending on how much you make, depends how much you can invest. If you're on a very low income, like minimum wage, you can't invest little or any money whatsoever, so therefore your income has to increase. But let's say you're a doctor or a surgeon or something amazing like that, and you're making good money, whether it be 100 plus thousand, 300 plus thousand, or whatever it may be, you still need to invest your money for your future, because the power of the compound effect. And the thing is, the more money you invest over a long period of time, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or 4 decades, over time that money will grow massively more and more each and every single month or each and every single year due to the compound effect. And pretty much the way it works is when you plant a tree, it takes forever to grow, but over time it will grow into a gigantic gum tree, let's say for example, and that's pretty much what your money does. If you throw $100 here and there for years and years and years into your retirement, it can grow to $1 million, but you don't see it in the short term, you see it in the long term. That's pretty much how investing goes. And the more money you make, the more money you should invest. Instead of increasing your expenses, you should just invest it. And in the long term, once you've made $1 million, you can buy a $200,000 sports car if you want to, because you have that money. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If it was helpful, cool, leave a like and click on screen for another video. We'll see you guys next time.